I begin? That's it. 22nd November 1993. My mother and I sustained spinal cord injuries in the same accident. From that day on, the only mantra in my life was to live the fullest. In fact, more fiercely with a vengeance. I have used relationships as a bedrock for this. Relationships with my family, with my students in college, and also in my research lab, which I established after the injury. As a co-founder of the Spinal Foundation, I've extended my family with a whole lot of people with and without spinal cord injuries. As a pioneer of the Equal Opportunities Cell of the University of Delhi, and as a co-founder of TEDxKhaitanPublicSchool, I've had the privilege of touching lives with a large number of disabilities. Maybe I touched about 30,000 plus lives with these initiatives, and these are the ones that drive me every day. In the 26 years since the injury, I have never been seen as a person on a wheelchair, but as Dr. Komal Kamra. And that is exactly how I would want the society to see people with disability, as an accomplished, spirited human being, fully capable of so much in life. Reflecting on this journey, I'm very certain that there's one key ingredient which would have made my struggle in living with disabilities much, much better to overcome them. It would be quite a shame that people with disabilities are marginalized. They should be the strongest, most powerful, smart, living, loving, giving people I know. I've seen them. Maybe it has something to do with the way our senses become sharpened with physical challenge, or the discipline required to, pardon the pun, get back on bare feet. The one thing that made all the difference was relationships, the magical power of human connection. When two people meet, the first act is introduction, right? So, but before we introduce, we perceive something, we make perceptions about someone. I'm sure when you people saw me on this stage, the perception was an elderly woman on a wheelchair. In the next few minutes, I hope you go back having met Komal, at least minus this device that I use to move from one place to another. Hi, I'm Komal. I was born and brought up in a large family in a newly partitioned India, a family which lived in a peaceful Khan market then, materially frugal, but abundantly happy. Most Punjabis would understand the importance of the courtyard, or the angan, the veda as we call it. It was my favorite spot in childhood. Everyone always seemed to be coming together there, all fights, friendships, daily groceries, chit-chats, all major decisions were taken there. This strong sense of connections and a strong sense of being a family to others has stayed along with me. I learned very early on to simultaneously be in several conversations and also to be myself, to recharge the me in me. That's very important, to build a relationship with yourself, and it's kept me going on. Studying was my passion. Music and drama, my escapes. For as long as I knew, I just wanted to teach. At 16, I developed a skin condition called leukoderma. Due to the progressive reduction of depigmentation, the skin developed white patches. I was upset. But my family was more upset. A regular teenager, I felt social shame. For over 5 years, I shut myself in that cage of skin. Of course, I kept doing things, but then there was a cage. And then one day, I met a very successful scientist who sensed my discomfort and said, if dogs and cats can be black and white and brown and are cuddled, we take pride in putting plants with variegated leaves in our drawing rooms. Why can't people be brown and white? It was just like someone had reached out and snapped the light on in my mind. I was liberated. I was out of that cage and free. He taught me a very important lesson in life. People will perceive you the way you perceive yourself. And the first step you take in doing this is to love yourself. Love yourself the way you are. And in loving yourself, you do exactly what people will perceive and love. You get that love back, wonderfully multiplied. I packed my college years in the University of Delhi doing academics, bachelor's and master's in degrees in zoology. I packed the first 3 years with a whole lot of summer schools and projects, and the last 2 years with a diploma in French and a visharad in music. And before I turned 21, I was already permanent faculty in SGTB Khalsa College, Delhi University. I superannuated about a little over 2 months ago after having 44 plus years of teaching in the college. The best moments of my life were with my students, always. And then came the accident in November '93. For those who are not aware about what spinal cord injury means, the brain loses connection with the rest of your body from the point at which your spinal cord is cut. At one split go, you lose not just mobility, which people can see, but also sensation. Sensation of the skin, the bladder, the bowel. Complete loss of controlling these organs. Sexual dysfunction. And many, many more that I could count. And of course, use of mobility devices. And it's lifelong. There's no cure so far. The principal of my college, then, Mr. Randhawa, would often reprimand me because I would walk very fast. You have wheels under your feet, he would say. And he, teary-eyed, said, yeah, I've put wheels under your feet. I told him, even then, sir, I'll still run. I'll still keep doing things. I don't know. Thank you. I really don't know where it came from. Somewhere it came from within myself. I don't know where it came from. I don't know whether I believed what I told him. But then I just wanted to believe. And I just got on with a vengeance. There were many people around me who helped, of course.
At 23, I married an upright soldier who became my best friend forever. What if the forever lasted less than 20 years? God needed him more, perhaps. We needed to talk, to share. An amazing relationship. Don't remember a single fight. We were two contrasting personalities, but in that diversity there was unity, and with unity came strength. Two children, happy family, lots of love in the air.
Um, but one thing I never gave any right to anyone for, to take decisions for myself. I will take my own decisions. No one else will decide for me what I should be doing. That is something I will not give any right to anyone for, and that was that. I went back to college to teach, to do research, to add more and more to my life, travel across the world, and much, much more than what I had done earlier without the disability. A great moment in my life was getting the national award in 2004 from the only Dr. Abdul Kalam. Thank you. In that frame there, you see Dr. Uma Tuli, a mentor, synonymous with, that time she was the Chief Commissioner of Disabilities, synonymous with inclusive education. And you also see on the right side there, Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia, who founded the Indian Spinal Injury Center, who had a spinal cord injury in Indo-Pak War just months after he climbed Mount Everest. I admire these two people, definitely I do. When I went back to college, I realized my students did not discriminate between a teacher. Can you change that? On a wheelchair or teachers who were upright. All they wanted was good teaching. I had been an avid researcher and I went back to teaching, to research, and I worked with these fascinating microbes called ciliates. For those of you who don't know, it's okay. But I'm sure somewhere in your school classrooms you've heard of paramecium. That's the kind of organisms I work with. Ciliates are underrated little ones of the microbe world. They play a very important key role in the food chain. I'm not going to get into it too much, but the Indian subcontinent has not been explored for them, and there are very few ciliatologists here. So I went all over the place searching for them, even identifying them, and many times I've come across new species. And then I went worldwide trying to present my discoveries and hope to continue this work till I die, I'm sure. 11 years after the accident, I set up a research lab of my own in the college, being recognized as an independent supervisor for PhD programs. Answering a call from the Vice Chancellor, I was the co-founder of the Equal Opportunities Cell of the university. My tryst with students with disabilities, making the campus accessible for all, enriched me completely. I saw disability as an opportunity to face challenges in a way unique and different from the rest of the world. I co-founded the Spinal Foundation, a pan-India organization for persons with spinal cord injury. The Spinal Foundation today touches about 20,000 people plus all over India. There has about 150 plus trained peer mentors. A footprint in just 5 years has touched every state of India. A partnership with IIT Madras that is set to alter the landscape with world-class affordable mobility devices, and to share expertise to spread quality rehabilitation The prime example being the Chandigarh Spinal Rehab. As its representative, I championed the World Spinal Cord Injury Day that became a reality in 2016. In that space, thank you. In the spinal cord space, I got to do a lot more than this, and I'm sure that slide is quite cluttered at the back. I co-founded Ekatvam, a self-help group for epilepsy people, people who would be hidden within the four walls of the house. People will not say that their child has epilepsy. There is such a lot of treatment gap. We needed to spread this message. And this we did by doing a whole lot of activities. We continue to do them. The Purple Day, and even an international conference, Epicon, at the college. Taking this message far and wide, I'm very proud of one of those, EpiReach, a program that we have done with 10 undergraduate students who went from door to door in Delhi, in different parts of Delhi, getting people with epilepsy out and having Sunday camps to give them free consultations with the doctors from AIMS, free medicines, and getting them into the system. There have been some more initiatives in this. Apart from this, I just got into a whole lot of, seminal activities I was doing even earlier, but then I got into other extension activities too. Some of those that you see there, Science Setu, bringing the undergrads to the eminent scientists whom we have, looking at an alternate methodology of teaching learning process through the RBPT, ISER Pune. And in this process, I met a whole lot of people. People who are just normally students, teachers, but also administrators, politicians. We needed them all to come together to make changes happen. 65 years, that's my age. 39 on feet, 26 on a wheelchair. I probably added more to my biodata in the latter part. Was 1993 life-changing? Yes, but in a positive way, not a negative way. Thank you. I love to travel, meet people, organize seminal and social events. Occasionally, I run races. So much for the monologue. That was my introduction. Now it is your turn to introduce yourselves to me. You have my mail ID. Let me share a photo capture by Johan, a physiotherapist in CMC Vellore, that describes me well. Liberated, freedom, happiness, and living life king size. Thank you.